Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at combat patrols. Is Games Workshop making them worse? This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. So there's been a lot of new combat patrols coming out lately. A lot of speculation, talks, rumors that Games Workshop is just making the combat patrols worse. And there's a lot of different metrics we can measure them by. So in this video, we're going to take a look at them, not necessarily by composition, but just by value inside these boxes. So essentially, is Games Workshop making them a worse deal? So I went through each of the 24 combat patrols, including the upcoming Chaos one, totaled up all of the individual MSRP of the items inside. Here in the United States, they're all priced exactly the same at $160. So we can take this MSRP value of the individual kits, we can compare that to the $160 price tag, and tell you, is it a good deal or not? Now, that being said, some of the combat patrols are a relatively good deal, but only have like 300, 400, or 500 points. Other ones are not really that great of a deal, but might contain 700, 800, even almost 900 points. So this is specifically just showing you the MSRP value of the individual kits relative to the MSRP value of the actual combat patrol price. All right, so there are 24 of these, so we're going to move at a relatively fast pace and not spend a ton of time on each. So first off is Combat Patrol Adeptus Custodes. So this is a nice box. It's got a lot of points inside. It's $220. So you're saving $60 over the MSRP value. And this is one of the newer boxes. So compared to the old box, it definitely has lower MSRP, but arguably I think this is a better box. Next we have the Tau Combat Patrol. So they got rid of the big ghost kill, but we actually have the Devilfish Transport inside. This one is $240 now. So it's not bad, but again, we see that the value is trending closer to like the 220 sweet spot that Games Workshop is going for. Next, we have the Combat Patrol Orcs. So the new one is like a Beast Snaga Combat Patrol. The old one was one of the best with about $275 in value, and now it's $225. So still a nice box, but substantially worse. Then we have the Combat Patrol Astra Militarum. This one is valued at $245. It's one of the smallest armies points-wise that you get inside the Combat Patrol. And it's basically just a rebox of the Astra Militarum, like new range refresh launch box. So a little better than some of the newer boxes in value, but not necessarily great in composition. All right, and then moving on next, we have the World Eaters Combat Patrol box. This one is $250 in value. It is all new models from the new range refresh, and one of the better boxes value-wise for the newer combat patrols. Then we have Combat Patrol Leagues of Votann. Again, all new models, $225 in this box. Again, on the lower end, but what Games Workshop is trending towards. Then we have Combat Patrol Chaos Demons. This one is all corn models. Some of the individual kits in this box are definitely overpriced, so it kind of inflates the value of the box. But this is one of the overall best MSRP values of $288.50. So almost $290 compared to some of the other ones that are averaging closer to like $220. This one is a much better deal. Then we have another really good deal, the Combat Patrol Eldari box. Again, this one's kind of inflated because the jet bikes are priced so high, but $273.50. Overall, really nice value inside this Combat Patrol box based on MSRP of the individual kits. Moving on from there, we have the Combat Patrol Grey Knights. From the initial Combat Patrols, this was basically the worst box. It actually has a lot of points in it and is a pretty nice box, composition-wise, but value-wise, it is very, very low. This one is $200 in value. Next, we have Combat Patrol Thousand Suns, and again, on the very low side of the value inside these boxes at $210. It also contains 20 Zangors, which are basically a dime a dozen, so that makes it slightly worse. All right, then we have the Combat Patrol Black Templar box. So this one is pretty decent actual composition and includes a $35 upgrade frame, so that gives this one a $240 value. Then we have Combat Patrol Drukhari, again, one of the better boxes, $258.50 on this one. Nice composition as well, as it has one heavy hitter tank and then one transport tank as well, and still has 16 non-vehicle models. So pretty nice setup right here and a good start for an army. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. All right, and then moving on, we have the Death Guard. So this one has 30 Poxwalkers in it, 7 Plague Marines, and 2 characters. So 30 Poxwalkers is a little excessive, and you're never going to want more than one of this because it has a unique character plus all those Poxwalkers. $243.50. It's a decent value, but not particularly great. Next, we have the Blood Angels box, and it is worth note that all the rest of the Space Marine boxes include upgrade frames, 2 in each box, and each of those upgrade frames is valued at $30. So $30 of the value is just in upgrades with shoulder pads and heads and stuff like that. So the Blood Angel box is the best of the Space Marines at $270. It also includes an Impulsor and a decent mix of units. Although for a combat-based army, it's not particularly well built composition-wise. Next, we have the Combat Patrol Death Watch. Again, $30 in upgrade frames. This one comes in at $225 and is on the much lower end for value. It's super redundant with 10 intercessors as well, but it does have 2 characters in the Lieutenant, Apothecary, and then of course the aggressors are nice. Then we have the Combat Patrol Space Wolves. So this one is $230 in value. Again, 10 intercessors in this box. It does contain a Lieutenant model that's not otherwise available for individual purchase, but with those upgrade frames at $230, it's not particularly great value. And the Invictor Tactical Warsuit, while it isn't a bad model, just isn't great in the current meta with the current points. Next, we have our Dark Angels box. The Dark Angels is the newest of the Space Marine boxes. It is $220 in value. And the old Dark Angel box was really nice with a Redemptor Dreadnought. It did lack bodies because it only had 10 models, as opposed to this one, which is 19. It also got rid of the heavy hitter Redemptor Dreadnought, which was a bit much for Combat Patrol. But the problem with this box is it really demonstrates that Games Workshop was trending towards lower value inside these boxes. And a lot of people argued that it's not the best composition either. At $220, it's okay at best. Next, we have the Adeptus Mechanicus. And this one is arguably the worst box. It has lower points than even the Astra Militarum. There's some serious issues with Adeptus Mechanicus currently as the rules need changes, but they keep dropping the points. And unfortunately, this one is 300 and something points, where most of the rest of the combat patrols are at least 500. Some of them even closer to 700 or 800 in models. So many models that you don't even get to use them all. So the value is $215, which is definitely on the lower end, but arguably this is the worst box. Next, we have the Necrons. The problem with this one is it's already low value at $198.50. And then also the Warriors, the Scarabs, the Character, and the Destroyers were all inside of the Indominus boxes. So they can be purchased for very cheap also. So that takes away even more from the value of this box set because there were so many of those produced that they're available en masse at a deep discount. So even the $198.50 value inside this box, which is already low, is probably inflated. Next, we have Combat Patrol Tyranids. So the one with the asterisks next to them is because they're a little bit different. It's hard to derive the value because it comes with easy to build models in this set, as where the individual kits that are sold for the Termagants in this case are not the easy to build models. So this one is valued at $285, but it is the easy to build Termagants. You can also get the contents of this box set inside one of the starters and then Leviathan as well, which were some of the best deals ever offered. So realistically, you can get an even better deal than picking up the Combat Patrol by going one of those routes. But at $285 in models, this is arguably one of the best boxes, if not the best one, purely based on MSRP value. And what better way to follow up the best box than with the worst one? The Combat Patrol Space Marines is an absolute atrocity. Not only does it have a star because the models inside are available in one of the starter sets inside of Leviathan, but also the captain inside the set is the easy to build captain. So the $42 price tag on him is actually even lower than that because the captain that's $42 in Terminator armor has multiple options. So this box is $175. There is no value in this box. No one should ever purchase this box. And if you own a retail store and someone wants to order this box, you should just tell them no. They're much better off buying the starter set and getting the Tyranids also, or buying a Leviathan set. There's absolutely no value in this box being sold for $160 with $175 in models, because realistically, you should just buy the models individually and get the good captain instead of the easy to build one. All right, so the next 3 combat patrols, 2 of them are going out because they're about to get new ones and very, very likely going to be worse. As a matter of fact, I'll bet on it. And then we have the Chaos box, which is coming out very soon. So the Combat Patrol Gene Stealer box was one of, if not the best box ever produced. $293.50 in models. Massive model count. and a great start to an army. None of the other boxes on paper had a better value than this, with the exception of the Adeptus Sororitas box, which is next. And again, this one has the star caveat because these are all easy to build models, with the exception of the Rhino, which is just your standard Rhino. So the components from this box set came from a while ago, the Sisters of Battle launch box. So some of the units come in odd numbers that you can't normally purchase. And then also all the models are easy to build, so you don't have the same amount of options. So doing our best to price this out, it comes out to about $300 in value. It's an absolute steal. The easy to build models go together nicely and they still look awesome. You just lose out on some of the weapon options and poses. But in particular with the Genestealer Cults and Adeptus Sororitas boxes, if you are interested in one of these, they're still available on store shelves and on the internet places. I would 100% grab them up because it's very likely that we see the value inside the new boxes that come out much closer to that $225 price point. So about $75 less in value, substantially worse. And then next we have the Chaos Space Marine box, which we actually know the contents of. It's already been shown off and announced. And I'll actually superimpose a picture here so you'll be looking at it. But it's a Master of Possessions, a 10-man Chaos Space Marine squad, a 10-man Cultist squad, and then 5 possessed. And this new box comes out at only $210. So when it's all said and done, we can see that some of these boxes are still really good, mostly the older ones, but the Tyranid box is really nice, and that's one of the newer ones. Some of these boxes are really bad in value, like the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Space Marines. And then other ones are just all around bad in composition, like the Adeptus Mechanicus one, which is only 300 plus points. And even like the Astra Militarum one is a good value inside the box set, but again is very low in points and also doesn't even have a tank, which is obviously a staple of the Astra Militarum. So some of these boxes are really good value still. Some of them are really good composition. Others are really bad in those same fields. But the truth is, after looking at all these, seeing the new combat patrols come out one at a time, it's very clear that Games Workshop is hitting these with shrinkflation. So if you are interested in any of the old boxes, specifically the ones that have a really good value, like Genestealer Cult and Adeptus Sororitas, which are going away, probably won't come back into stock, and will be replaced by new ones, I would 100% get out there and get them before it's too late. So let me know what you guys think of this video. I always like to hear back in your comments. Do you agree with me on the actual composition of these boxes? Do you think some of the values inside the boxes are misrepresented because the kits are overpriced? Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. And as always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. Make sure to tell them that Warhammer Man sent you. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and combat patrols are definitely getting worse. And I'm out of here.